Hello, family. What's up? This is Gina Ifoe, the one and only African superstar. I'm going to kind of piggyback on my most recent live stream about Americans being lonely and desperate, which makes them a target to scams. I want to go into Americans are too emotional, which makes them vulnerable. Big shout out to the African superstar family. Last time we did have some technical difficulties. So this time, we hope that the live stream will not be impacted. When you come in the room, please make sure that you are on code you greet, like the stream. You can also support the stream. Our platform is now remonetized. Big shout out to the African Superstar family. Also, have you downloaded my most recent track, Sunday Born, and we have an upcoming tour in Ghana, October 2024. So if you are waiting to come to Africa, you're planning, you want to come see me, you want to get that special concert and all of those things, then make sure you go to www.tayeahuru.com and book your spot today so that we can start preparing to welcome you in Ghana in October. Today's topic is Americans are too emotional. Now, a lot of times we will hone in and talk about Black Americans more specifically. We'll talk about what they've been through and how that has impacted them. But what I'm coming to realize as being a part of the international community, that a lot of the issues that affect Westerners, it's not a racial thing. It is a cultural thing to those in America. So when we talk about these scams, for instance, and all of this, that is an American cultural thing. You see that culturally, Americans are emotional. Culturally, Americans are lonely. Culturally, Americans are desperate. There's a lot of Americans that are dealing with mental health challenges. There are a lot of Americans that are dealing with low self-esteem and depression. And all these type of things set the stage for us to be victimized in various ways, because what I'm seeing from the rest of the world is they are not nearly as emotional as we are. They don't take everything personal. They don't get offended at every little drop of the dime. They have a broader, more resilient perspective. And I think that's why, unfortunately, we are getting taken advantage of a lot in the area of relationships, in the area of friendships, and all of that is because we're just too emotional. We're not willing to look at things realistically. We're not willing to have that perspective because we have been brought up on fantasy. Big shout out to African Superstar family. My 2 cents, SMR Smurs 1. Big shout outs to you for being the first in the chat room. The fact of the matter is, guys, it's not needed to be emotional about everything. Actually, to be emotional the way that we are emotional is very draining. Oftentimes I see things on social media and it's like, people are getting so emotionally vested in things that don't even have a direct impact to them. Getting emotional about things and people they don't know. People they've never seen or situations they've never seen. You will see people getting, expending their energy, and it's draining and it's not productive. Let's say, I always give this analogy. I actually have a cup today. Okay. So let's say in the beginning of the day, your cup is full. Okay. And that's 100% of energy. Let's say this liquid in here is 100% of energy. Okay. You start divvying out that energy. So you give, 20% to your husband or wife. You give another 10, 15% to your children. You're giving 30% to your job. And now you're watching CNN and you're over there boo-hooing about Israel and Palestine. You're giving them a 25%. By the time you get down to what you actually need, what you need to achieve, and all of that, you have depleted your energy source. This is why it's not beneficial to be so emotional. Okay? It's okay to not care about stuff. It's okay to reject getting involved in things that don't pertain to you. Okay? Other people's problems, other people's activism, other people's causes, other people's situations. And one thing that is specific to Black people is us, our energy being siphoned for fuel of other people's causes and movements and all of that. However, we never get the reciprocal of that. When it's actually a cause uniquely for us, we don't get the energy from the other groups that we have potentially given them and invested in them. We don't get that back. And I would like to say that when you become less emotional, like I would love to count myself as someone who's not emotional. A lot of you guys have been here with me on the channel for years now. And I pride myself on being an evenly keeled individual, someone who is ethical, someone who is level-headed. And even those situations, whatever, I'm still able to function. I'm still able to, be resilient. When you don't care, it's actually very freeing. Oftentimes people ask me my opinions about a lot of things. And sometimes I just simply tell the people, I don't have any interest in that. I'm rather focused on my own plate of situations that I need to navigate. I want to use my energy. Okay. I want to use my energy towards those things. I don't want to use my energy towards erroneous things that me putting my energy on is not going to fix. Let me give you some examples. Me putting my energy on Israel and Gaza, what is that going to fix? Just being honest. What is it going to fix? Me actually putting my energy on Biden and Trump, what is that going to fix? Me putting my energy on a lot of the repetitive, perpetual injustices that Black people face in America, what is that going to solve? It's literally been there for centuries. Being overly emotional, guys, it is a huge deficit. It's a deficit. And you are going to be the one who suffers. Okay, when you're overly emotional, you are the one who suffers. The people that hurt you or the people that offend you or whatever, they don't suffer. You suffer, because it's almost like, let's say, God forbid, but let's say you have been in a fire, okay, and you get burns on your body. Okay, so now you have parts of your body that's a bit exposed. Okay, and if you've ever had any type of burn on your body, you know how it's so sensitive, how it tingles, how, if you just simply brush, even clothes on top of the burn will give you discomfort. Okay. When you are overly emotional, that's how you are in the world. That's how you are in the world. You have burns all over your body. Anything gets close to you, even a brush of the wind will activate your nerves. You need to toughen up your skin. And this is something that I think has been missing from several generations in American culture. I think growing up, Americans used to be a lot more tough, or try to be a lot more tough. Tried to reel themselves in when they were having bad situations. If, for instance, you were having, if you sucked at sports, and some of you guys are athletes, you can probably attest to this. Back in the days, your coach, your teammates, they would be kind of rough on you. If you messed up the last basketball shot, or you missed the goal on the football pitch or whatever, your teammates would say, they would give it to you. They might embarrass you. They might, talk to you and say, hey man, you suck. You cost us the game. They would just be honest about what happened. Nowadays, to be honest is offensive here in America. To state the unmitigated truth is offensive. And that is why Americans are losing, because they are too emotional and unrealistic. In regards to relationships on the continent, all right, don't take it personal when people try to take advantage of you. It's not you as an individual that they have selected and said, aha, that person right there, that one, that's the one I want to get. No. In reality, an opportunist that spots you not only in Africa, but India, Latin America, the Caribbean, Asia, wherever somebody could actually identify you as an opportunity, an opportunist is going to try to maximize and exercise that opportunity. Your hand in all this is to not make it easy on people that are trying to scam you. Okay? For instance, when I meet young men in Ghana, for instance, that want to travel abroad, okay? At the end of the day, that's their dream, right? That's their goal. They're seeing any woman, any foreigner as a potential avenue to get that dream achieved. Now, they're going to try their tactics on me, all right? They're going to try their love bombing. They're going to try marriage. They're going to try kids. They're going to try, whatever they have at their disposal. They're going to try it. Now, it's up to me. It's up to me to look at the situation and say, something doesn't seem right about this. I'm going to evaluate this. I'm going to do my research. I'm not going to get ahead of myself. That is my burden of proof. All right. Now, if this person scams you successfully for one reason or another, I mean, at the end of the day, you can't really take it personal because you became a victim. Now, in some of the minority cases, these people go above and beyond to deceive you. But in a lot of these cases, it's so blatant and it's so obvious, and the victims just choose not to see it for what it is. Big shout outs to the family, guys. I'm going to start with shout outs in just a minute. So if you're in the building, make sure you leave me something in the chat room so I can greet you. When, for instance, like I said, when I meet people in Ghana, I don't take it personal that they are trying to achieve their goal with that, whatever that means. Okay. If they see me in the market and they think I'm a foreigner, they know I'm a foreigner, they think I'm rich, they want to charge me extra, I can't be mad at them for that. Hey, they think I got it and they want to get it. Have they targeted me specifically? Oh my God, that's Gina. That's the African superstar. I want her. No, it could be any of us. If you make it easy for people to take advantage of you, they will take advantage of you. Period. That's why some of you guys have repetitively been in this situation. You think you have a long, deep conversation with someone, you pour your heart out, you tell them, oh, I was scammed by this person, I had a failed business, I had a divorce, I had this. You tell them your whole spiel, and you're thinking to yourself, well, I told them, so they're not going to bring me into this. They're not going to deliberately hurt me. They're not going to break my heart. My friend, an opportunist is an opportunist is an opportunist. Some of you guys, if you're honest, you're opportunists too. Think about it. Be real. If you had an opportunity to do this, to do that, would you sit there and look at the other side and say, well, if I think about like this, let me tell you something. Honestly, to be honest with you, if that's going to be your perspective, you ain't never going to get anything done. You ain't never going to get anything done, because in order for you to escalate, somebody has to be de-escalated. That's the reality. All right? That is just the reality. You're an athlete. You want to win. That means somebody's going to lose. Are you going to be on the basketball court and say, damn, I don't want to throw this 3-point shot, because if I win this game, that means the opponent team is going to lose. That means they're not going to get the championship. That means they're not going to get the trophy or the prize money. No. You know, if there's 3 of you guys going for the same guy, for instance, ladies, all right, the man likes women with big breasts. You got big breasts. He likes women with big brown eyes. Now, one of the other chicks going for him got blue eyes, and the other one has, you know, I don't know, honey colored eyes. Okay, you got a couple advantages on those other chicks. Are you going to say, you know what? I know I have big boobs and I have brown eyes, and he, you know, that's what he likes. However, if I'm his girl, that means these other 2 girls are going to be single. That means they're not going to have a man. Huh? When you go to a job interview and you're up against 3, 4, 5 people or 10 people or 20 people, okay, they say, we want somebody with this particular certification. We want somebody with the Cisco certification. We want somebody who's proficient in Excel. We want somebody who has, 5 years on the job experience. You got it. Are you going to sit there and say, oh shit, if I win this, if I get this job, that means all the people that I'm contesting with, they're still going to be unemployed. The reality is, guys, the unmitigated reality of it is, for there to be winners, there has to be losers. That's why you shouldn't be emotional. Okay? That's why you shouldn't be emotional, because in this game, that's how it has to be. Okay? If you are someone who bleeds constantly for the people, all you're going to do is drain your energy. The problems that we are meeting as human beings in this 2024 are perpetual problems. Hello? Perpetual problems. Poverty is a perpetual problem. War is a perpetual problem. Racism is a perpetual problem. Scams, perpetual problem. It's always been about the haves and the have-nots. It's always been about the rich and the poor. It's always been about beauty. It's always been about that stuff, guys. You're not going to supersede it because you're emotional. No. The more you understand about life and how things are the way they are, how a lot of things are going to be the way that they are, the less you have to be emotionally invested in things that are going on. Real talk. And I want to have this conversation because I always want to prepare Americans or my viewers or Westerners for their journey potentially in the motherland. Okay. I have found if you take this perspective, you will be so much more successful, because I see other people that are just so emotional. There are some Black Americans, for instance, they're so emotional when people call them foreigners in Africa or in Ghana, when they're called Obrani, or when they're called Oyimbo in Nigeria. Listen, are you not foreign? Huh? Are you not foreign? Do you know the local language? Do you know all of your heritage? Do you know your tribe? Did you grow up in the country? Hello? Do you have citizenship? Do you have residency? Have you traveled there? Have you lived there before? I mean, at the end of the day, you are a form of a foreigner. Yes. Do we have lineage that connects us back? Yes. Do we have a traumatic history, that severed our connection to the motherland? Absolutely. But focusing on that is, again, a huge deficit. It's draining. It's something that we cannot change. What we can change, because you guys know I'm just solutions oriented. What we can change is reconnecting ourselves to the continent. We can consciously reconnect ourselves to the continent, potentially reconnect our kids, our future generations, so that a lot of those particular deficits and hangups that we as Westerners have regarding the continent are gone. But if we focus on the fact, I don't know my history, I don't know anybody in Africa, I don't know where I come from, they're calling me foreigner, this and that and the other. Listen, for those of you Black Americans that hate being called a foreigner in Africa, what initiatives are you taking to integrate in your new country? A lot of Black Americans, and this is just the truth, a lot of Black Americans that are moving to Africa, they don't want to learn the local languages. They don't want to eat the food. They don't want to integrate with locals. You know, to blend in as much as possible, you're going to have to go above and beyond to do that. Now, you feel that people are taking advantage of you. You feel that people look at you like you're just money. You feel like a foreigner, or you felt that you're treated as a foreigner. Unfortunately, that burden is on you. I mean, I'm just being honest, because the whole Africa is not going to change because your feelings have been hurt. And I mean, I know this is a difficult conversation, but I really think it needs to be had, because if Black Americans want to have success in Africa, they cannot be so emotional about every little thing that happens. The fact is, those of us that are moving to Africa are the progressive people. We are the forward-thinking, visionary, pioneering people. All right. That's why we have decided, you know, to leave these Western environments and go seek other greener pastures. We are minority in the whole world. We can't come to Africa where people have been groomed and having this perspective, you know, for decades about Westerners and how we live, and expect them to be on our page. We can't. Maturity would tell us that it's going to take, it's a process. After living with us, after spending some time on the continent, after, you know, integrating and bringing our generations back, then people may understand us a little bit more. But when you're on the pioneering path, you should anticipate that nobody's going to understand you. You should just anticipate that. Okay? You should anticipate having the same repetitive conversation about why you moved to Africa, why you don't want to live in America or Canada or UK anymore. You should anticipate meeting lots of people that want to move. Damn, what's going on, man? Sorry, guys. You should anticipate that, because that's reality. All right? It's no need to get emotional. It's no need to get emotional, guys, about things that are going to happen. You know, matter of fact, when things are going to happen, things happen that you've already anticipated are going to happen, you rather should feel really happy. You should be like, damn, I'm on top of my game. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. Oh, I called that before I got caught up in a scam. Or, you know, if you see things happening with your friends, you'd be like, oh, you know, you should avoid that, or this and that and this and that. You can help people navigate it. That's an advantage. You know, and this over emotional behavior and outlook to the world is detrimental to Americans, you know, Westerners. Life is not sweet all the time. Life is not easy all the time. Okay, everybody's not going to like you, and everybody's not your friend. Just because you got the gall to move back to Africa, the rest of the world may not be on your page. Okay, the majority of the people you probably meet and interact with in Africa won't understand it. They won't understand it. You're talking about people who for their whole lives, decades, have, you know, this beautiful, amazing image of the West. They can't, for the life of them, understand why you would choose not to be there if you could be. They don't have the depth of understanding that we have. They don't have it because they never lived here. They never been in America. They never been in the UK. They never been in Canada. A lot of the continentals you're meeting, they've never traveled outside of their country, probably. You know, so they can't fathom why. Even if you're explaining to them, they still can't get it. You know, you're talking to people from a lifetime of racist experience. You're telling them, I don't like white people because of this, because of that. You're talking to people that have never encountered a lot of those situations. You know, you're coming with hundreds of encounters or thousands. They have zero. Do you expect them to understand your your experience. It's just unrealistic, guys. And that's why you just shouldn't be emotional. You shouldn't be emotional about it. I'm a leader, and it's frustrating at times. It's frustrating being so ahead of other people. I know that eventually they'll catch up. I don't even know if that's going to happen in my lifetime. The frustration of being ahead is difficult. However, it's maturity to understand it. And it's also maturity to understand you are at an advantage because you're operating before the others, which means you have opportunity before they even get it. Those of us that have already moved to the continent, started enterprising there, acclimating ourselves, we are at an advantage. When the rest of the diaspora, or a sizable amount of the diaspora, gets ready to do it, it's going to be too late. So instead of you lamenting the fact that you're ahead of the cusp, you're ahead of the masses, you went out in front, see it for what it is, that is actually an advantage. Perspective will greatly assist you guys. Instead of being emotional, look at things logically. Look at things with the lens of maturity that, wow, you know what I mean? I could be frustrated that, man. I mean, do you know, literally, I'm not trying to be funny. Do you know how many people I've met in my lifetime? Probably more specifically in the last 10 or 15 years, regarding my prospects in Africa. I've literally repetitively had the same conversation, hundreds of times. Hundreds. If I were to get emotional and break down and say, oh my God, my people, look at the state of my people just don't get it. I talk to people in America that are completely ignorant about Africa. I talk to people in Africa that are completely ignorant to America. I talk to people in the UK who are completely ignorant about America, who are completely ignorant about Africa. It's like unbelievable. And then there's me. There's me being the unique person who's lived in all three places, who's world traveled, who knows this and that by fact, by experience. And I'm having to have these repetitive conversations with people internationally that can't relate. But I don't take it personal, and I don't get emotionally wrapped up in it, because I understand my perspective and I understand my position. Being emotional makes you vulnerable, guys. People that are lifetime scammers and opportunists, they are so in tune with vulnerability. Hello? People that are scammers and opportunists, they are in tune with vulnerability. They can smell it on you. And when they hone in on those deficits, they're going to dig deep. It's the reason why people that don't really care, it's hard to hurt them. It's hard to figure out. You guys ever seen those action movies? Big shout outs to African Superstar family. Guys, make your presence known in the chat room. I'm getting ready to start shout outs. Much love to everybody in the building today. Don't forget, support the stream if you appreciate this content. We are monetized again. And I have an upcoming tour, October 2024. I want to see some of you guys in Ghana, because some of you guys have been talking about coming for years and you want to see me. And now's your opportunity. Please go to www.tayeahuru.com. You guys know, in those action movies, okay, like with Jason Statham and Tom Cruise and, people like this, the villain seems to be a cold-hearted, callous individual. I mean, sometimes the guy's been shot, several times. The guy's been in prison. The guy, he's been tortured. Sometimes he's got scars on him, and it's like, this guy is a hardened dude. This dude don't give a damn about nothing. He don't care. Obviously, I wouldn't want you to get to that extreme. But I'm just giving the illustration that the less you care about a lot of things that go on, the more difficult it is for the world to hurt you and the world to take its toll on you, because a lot of campaigns aimed at you are not going to be successful because you don't care, because it will not penetrate you. Now, again, given that example of the burn victim who, they a lot of their skin has been burned, they are sensitive to every single thing. Even just the wind can affect them. Even a raindrop going to sizzle on their arm or whatever. You don't want to be that person. You don't want to be that person. Even when you get burned, looking at it logically will help you. I'll give an example before I start shout outs. Big shout outs to the African Superstar family, guys. Like the stream. We have 15 of you here. Big shout outs to you guys. Thank you so much for stopping by to check out my live stream. Americans are overly emotional, which makes them vulnerable. So let me give you an example. So obviously you guys know that I've dated a few guys since I've been in Ghana. Some of the, namely, the big guys that I dated, Joseph Mayer and Fifi. All right. Now, both of those situations didn't work out. Obviously Fifi moved to the UK and Joseph and I just decided, to go our separate ways. Now, when I look at the situations, I could just be absolutely shattered that they didn't work out. Right. I could just be, because, I love them. I love them. And I wouldn't have dated them if I wasn't interested in them or attracted or want a future with them. However, when I look at the circumstances of the relationship, I come to the conclusion that it is what it is. And that's okay. For Fifi, he wants, he is currently living in the UK. That's where he wanted to go. That's where his life desire was. When I met him, he told me that his family was in the process of trying to send him abroad and he wanted me to be aware. I said, okay. Now I could admit, because obviously we were a nice couple. We were compatible. We loved each other. But the reality is he wants to live abroad. All right. It's not an emotional thing. It's not an emotional thing. Unless I'm ready to go be in the UK for him, then it is what it is. And so I take a very diplomatic look at certain situations, because it is what it is. Big shout out to the African Superstar family. All right, let me check out these. Let me check out these comments. My 2 cents says, people just need to slow down and think before making decisions. Duffly KN, big shout outs to you. I see you in the building. My 2 cents says, no one holds anyone accountable. Big shout outs. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? My 2 cents got so much to say. I mean, the name is a dead giveaway. My 2 cents. People move there too emotional. Moving to Africa is just an option. It's not the same Africa from 500 years ago. Nee says, people who don't want to deal with Africans will not survive in Africa. Well, I mean, he made a great point. I actually think it's kind of crazy to move to Africa and not want to know and be a part of the country that you live in. I honestly believe you're setting yourself up for failure at that time. Because it's just like, moving to a particular place, the environment is a part of it. You can't pick and choose one aspect and elements without the others. Now these same people will say they feel lonely. They feel alienated. They feel like they don't belong and all that kind of stuff. Well, duh, because you move to a country that you don't really want to be a part of. You don't really want to participate. People are a huge part of a country. Okay. If not, you would just move to a landmass that just has buildings and there'd be no people there. People make a culture. People make an environment. All right. So this is why, for instance, most of us that you know, are living on the continent, all that, we will advise you guys to come and travel, come and visit, so that you can determine if, okay, this environment suits me. These people, I can deal with these people. I can tolerate these people. We get along, or I'm interested. You know, um, otherwise, like me said, you're going to struggle. You know, you're going to struggle, and you may not be successful in your endeavors. I mean, even the non-Black foreigners understand this part. You know, they, as soon as they come to the continent, they start formulating alliances with powerful people. They start getting liaisons. They start learning the language. They start, you know, because they realize, okay, in order for me, really in their mind, they're strictly trying to capitalize. Okay. And they don't make any bones about it. So they need to know, they need to do market research so that they can be successful in how they want to capitalize. All right. They need to understand the people. They need to know what kind of products to bring in. They need to know which locations is what and all that for their business to thrive. Relationships are the same. Okay. You got to be strategic about your move to the continent. Big shout out to me. I appreciate that point. Dubfly KM says, you are a foreigner in America too because you look different. You know, wow, that's heavy. That's heavy. That's heavy. But true. You know, I know that it's such a paradox for Black people, because Black Americans, because we don't belong in America and we don't also belong abroad. You know, and it's a frustrating feeling like, where do I fit? Well, at the end of the day, guys, you fit where you fit. You fit where you position yourself. That's what I got to tell you. And that's a perspective from an international traveler. Okay. There is no place that you are going to ever totally belong as a Black American, as a diasporian person. I mean, these are the hard truths. These are the hard truths. As a diasporian person, there you don't belong anywhere, because you're in 9 times out. I mean, I know some of you guys are Native Americans, you guys are FDO, ABC, and all of that, whatever you claim. All right. But as diasporians, you don't belong. You don't belong to the Western place you grew up in or you were born. All right. I don't care if you got the perfect British accent, the perfect American English. I don't care if you're the all-American student. You know, you've tried your very best to be a part of that country. Your origins are going to lead you elsewhere. That's the facts, number one. Number two, society reminds you that you don't belong. They're always letting you know that you're a second-class citizen. They're always implying that you come from elsewhere. All right. You don't belong in the West. And the West lets you know that you don't belong. Now, in Africa, you feel estranged because culturally you don't know. You don't know the language. You don't know the people. You know, you didn't grow up there. And so you're facing it on either side of the coin. And that's why I'm telling you, you fit where you position yourself. You fit where you decide, this is where I'm going to be. And also, you empower yourself in that location. That's what gives you the advantage. You know, the minute you stop looking at yourself as an American in Africa, then you will be better off. When you start, you see, if you, for instance, let's say you go to the market. Big shout outs, Duff Fly KM, have me on this right here. Shout outs to Duff Fly. Make sure you guys like the stream. What's up, family? If you're in the building, make your presence be known. I'm going through the comments right now. Let's say you go to the market, and in Ghana, you're hearing tree, you're hearing Fenty, you're hearing Ga. All right. Now you're paranoid because you're in the market and you don't know any of those languages. All right. So people are talking and you're just like, oh my God, are they talking about me? Are they trying to scam? You know, why are they looking at me? Why? You know, you're paranoid, right? Now, let's say you've been learning tree. Let's say you've been learning Fenty. You've been learning Ga. All right. You actually are in the market and you're hearing and translating some of the things that are going on. You're finding people are talking about their family, talking about what they're going to eat for lunch, talking about, oh, you know, the price of petrol has gone up in Ghana and all this stuff. Okay. you can eliminate that paranoia because you've now positioned yourself to understand it. You know, what was making you uncomfortable, now you don't have to feel that way because you've empowered yourself. It's also not as easy to scam you if you can understand the language. You know, but unfortunately, a lot of diasporans feel that it's unnecessary. They don't need to learn the language. They don't make that effort. And so therefore, they meet what they meet. Big shout outs to Duffly KN. Nee says, I did not know I was a Black person until I got to the USA. I've heard that so many times from different African people, you know, that's when they got a racial awareness, was when they moved abroad. You know, that's when they kind of, you know, got called Black. That was like the first time. You know, before that, when they were living in Africa, they were a part of their tribe. They were part of their region. They were part of their religion, whatever. But now when they moved to America, they became Black, and then the different, you know, categories. Okay, African. You know, that's when they got called African. For Ghanaians, they see themselves as Ghanaians. Ghanaians I don't even know if they see themselves as Ghanaians. They see themselves as tribe, you know, in most cases. You know, but obviously you're going to get that awareness when you get into the West. The West is going to teach you that. Big shout out to the African Superstar family. Coach Kiaria, she says, I think it has to do with mindset. If you have a positive mindset, you will have positive results with your foreign country. Ghana is amazing. Those who don't have the mindset will be left. Shout out to the family. Mindset is everything. We talk about that in the mission statement. The mission statement of this platform, which is SMP, strategy, maturity, and patience. You know, there are people who are winning and there are people losing. Like I talked about earlier in the stream, the reality is for every winner, there are those that lost for that winner to be the winner. Even you, when you won various things, that meant somebody lost. Okay, unless you were the only person you were the only athlete on the court, you were the only person in the awards program, you were the only person contesting, and you won by default because you had no competition. Otherwise, you've competed, somebody lost. The day you won, somebody lost. Okay? It's immature to not understand that. It's immature to want world peace. It's immature to expect things that have never, ever happened ever in life to take place because that's what you wish and that's what you want. All right. I know that people are going to lose, especially when they contest against me. Hello. I know they're going to lose because I'm a winner. And I understand that for me to win, somebody got to lose. And that's what it is. All right. When I came to the continent, I decided I'm going to win here in Africa. I deserve it. You know, I want to flex. I want to shine on all my haters. I want my words to reign true. Everything that I have said. I want to walk it like I talk it. I don't want to look like a fool. I want to be victorious. All that was mindset that Coach Kiara is talking about. You coming to Africa without that mindset, there's dozens of problems that you're going to encounter that could potentially, you know, destroy your plans if you let them. You know, if you let those things be successful, then yeah, you're not going to have. So really, at the end of the day, if you want success in the continent, you should position yourself and empower yourself with all the resources, every single thing that you can to give you that advantage to make you succeed on the continent. You know, it's all in your mind. Big shout outs to the family. Nee says he didn't know racism until he got to America. Big shout outs. S.A. Smith, I see you in the building. TK says he needs to get back to Africa. He looks like he lost his luster. Buffness gone, melanin is dry. Oh, hey, TK, I'm not going to comment. Talking about Fifi. S.A. Smith, true. I do not know how they moved to Africa and want to be separated from Africa. I think that is the European colonizer side coming out. It doesn't make sense. And at the end of the day, you're not going to win, you know? And like I just pointed out, if you want to win, all right, then you need all the advantages. You need to identify the advantages and you need to maximize the advantages if you want to win. You know, I don't know what is the point. I mean, unless you just want to do it for bragging rights, you're going to go through all the time and the effort and the expense to move to Africa and not win. I don't get it. Okay. You're going to let your haters have their last laugh at your expense. Why? All those people that said you're stupid for going to Africa, you're never going to make it. You're going to have to come back to America. You're going to let them you're going to let them be justified. Why? Okay. My haters, I love for them to choke and die, you know, at my continual winning, you know, and that's a decision that I've made a long time ago. It's like, yeah, you know, you're nobody until people talking about you. You're nobody. You're not relevant until people are trying to block you or hate on what you're doing. All you need to do is be successful in the thing that you set out to do. That's going to put your haters at bay because they're trying to detract. They're trying to say you're never going to make it. They're trying to say you're not going to be successful. You're stupid. You're wrong. So if you exceed and succeed, then they can't think they don't have the grounds. You know, now would they move on to something else? Probably. You know, a real hater never stops being a hater. But, you know, you can eliminate their grounds by standing on your ground, standing on business. What's up? Royal Bloodline says not everyone is being emotional. Well, a lot of people are being emotional. I don't know who you talking about. I don't even gotta go for me, buddy. Big shout out to the family. S.A. Smith says, or is it how we were made to think of Africans coming out subconsciously? I wish there could be a meeting that can discuss this trauma without outsiders interfering. What's up, Jay? Now I see you, family. Good to see you too. It's been a minute. S.A. Smith, we don't know who this royal bloodline is. We don't know who this person is. And at the end of the day, we don't really care because, I mean, people that come into the conversation without understanding the context, you know what I mean? Or being emotional. Exactly what I'm talking about. Because the conversation that I'm having is totally valid. Americans are overly emotional. That's not a white or black thing. It is what it is. And that's why Americans are getting taken advantage of more than anybody else with these scams, these online scams, these romance scams and pyramid schemes, because their emotions are on their sleeve. They're so sensitive. They're so vulnerable. You know what I mean? They believe in fantasy. They believe in Hollywood. You know, logic escapes them because of their emotions. You know, and then when they also meet the outcomes of those situations, they can't hack it. They can't take it. You know what I mean? They break down, they commit suicide, they have, you know, they can't cope and all this stuff. And it's like, okay, realistically, if you made a mistake, own it. Yeah, I got caught up in that. Yeah, I knew it seemed too good to be true. Yeah, he was too young. Yeah, it was this, it was that. You know, the other day we had Lady Visionary come on the program with one of her friends. I believe his name is Mr. Colin. And he said, hey, I got to own it. When I got to Rwanda, I met this girl. She played me and he owned it. He didn't make excuses about anything. He said he saw the red flags, but he liked the girl, so he put up with it. Okay? That's how adults should function. It's not necessary to be emotional, blame everybody else for the pitfalls that we experience. You know, and I'm gonna tell you guys, our Westerners are just too emotional. You know, if you know, for instance, when you go to Africa, people are hustling for that. In the words of Project Pat, that Getty Green. Shout out to any Project Pat 36 Mafia North fans in here. Y'all know what I'm talking about. People in Africa is hustling for that Getty Green. All right. They got to get out there and get it. Whoever's going to let them get it, they're going to get it. All right. It's nothing personal. It could be you. It could be Michelle. It could be S.A. Smith. It could be Dynas. It could be O'Shea. It could be Walter Maya. It don't matter. Okay. They're hustling for the come up. People that want to travel and move abroad, they can use any of you. They'll go to any extent to use any of you. It's not for you to be emotional about it. Okay. They're looking at, I need a foreign girl or man to marry to get abroad. I need a baby with this person to get abroad. I got to lie, cheat, and steal, whatever. I got to charm them. I got to have sex with them. I got to make them believe. I got to marry them. That's all that they are focused upon. If you fall into their trap, you fall into their trap. All right. Your bone in this fight should be learning about where you're going, learning from other people that have already been there and been through crazy situations, and avoiding all that stuff. That's what you should focus upon. All right. Not the fact that people are going to try you, because people are going to try. I can tell you right now, they're going to try you. I saw a big shout out to my moderators in the building. Yes, yes, yes. I know that's right. Big shout outs to the family. The moderators is on it. They banned that royal bloodline. Bye-bye. Big shout outs to the family. Wildfire is there. Says, it's not personal. It's not personal, guys. It's not personal. All right? Like I said, people are calling you foreigner in Africa. It's not personal. You didn't come from there. You didn't grow up there. You don't know the language. You share melanin. You might look like somebody, but that's kind of where the similarities end. Let's be real, diaspora. That's where the similarities end for a lot of us. Okay. We are culturally different. We have a different outlook. We have different education. We speak different languages. We eat different foods. You know what I'm saying? We have different priorities. So many things about us is different. The thing that we align on is maybe our origin heritage, and our appearance. That's where we can connect with people on the continent realistically. Virtually every other thing is different. And so when people call you foreign in Africa, don't get upset. We were taken from the shores and we don't know our heritage, and you're having a breakdown at Elmina Castle. You're having a breakdown, on YouTube. You're having a breakdown at the market because somebody called you a brony. The little kids, was laughing and called you a yimbo and this and that and the other. They're laughing at how you talk and your accent. Please, you're only hurting yourself, because the rest of the world around you is not experiencing that emotion. Toughen yourself up. Prepare yourself for some of these things. You're coming to Africa. Prepare yourself for some of these things. Shameless plug. Come to the continent on a visit. Come to my next tour in Ghana. Come and see it before you make a drastic move to pick up and move or whatever. Come and experience it, and we can help you also be aware. We can tell you things. We can teach you things. We can show you things so that you don't come ignorant and completely oblivious to the place. Big shout outs to the family. S.A. Smith says, that can be a hard lesson to learn in life, but a necessary one. Big shout outs. Yes. Thank you, guys. We had 22 of you here in the building. What? Did you like the live stream, guys? The sun coming out and it's getting hot in my car. And go imagine, I parked all the way in the back of the parking lot, right? Tell me why these two cars came and parked right next to me when there's all these spaces up closer to the door. I tell you, I got that star power. Even when I'm in my car, even when people don't know who I am, they just drawn to me. Big shout outs to the family. Look, guys, if you're not a part of our platform, please make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like the stream. Make sure you support our content indeed, because we're back. Remonetized after 6 months back. And I'm going to have, I've been coming a lot more frequently to have these conversations with you guys. I'm seeing so many things as I'm here on my visit in Ohio that I want to point out. Again, being lonely, being desperate, being overly emotional. These are deficits to you in the international community because the rest of the world don't care. You know, if you've been in places like Germany, you've been places like Russia, you've been places like China, you know what I mean? They give it to you straight, no chaser. Okay, they let you know, hey, you are a foreigner. This is how it is. This is our country. This is this, this is that. This is where you fit. This is how it's going to be. It's not emotional. It's just the way it is. You know, we have such a sordid past, our past history and stuff like that, that makes us so vulnerable to this process of coming back to Africa and finding our way. You know, we're not receiving support to make this journey. We are doing it individually. And you've got to understand that the channels have never been put in place to help us make this movement. You know what I'm saying? There has been no channels, no formal channels that are helping diasporans move back to Africa. It's all individual. So I just want to help you guys get ready for your transition. You know what I mean? If you want to enjoy the continent as I have, you know what I mean, as I am doing, then you need to toughen it up, because you're going to go through things, and you know, you're going to go through various challenges, and you need to be ready for that. You know, I had an instance just recently at the immigration, and you know, they was giving me a little stress, a little pressure, and I thought to myself, like, man, you know, what a bummer. But I realized, hey, you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. It's a part of the process of coming back to the continent. I'm not going to let anything deter me. I've already come to the conclusion that Ghana is good for me. It's my favorite place out of my travels, out of where I've lived. So I just got to figure it out, you know, and I made that decision when I was preparing to come. And that is my charge, which is I'm just going to go ahead and stick it out and keep shining, keep progressing, keep making it happen on the continent. Big shout outs. Thank you so much, Janelle. Big shout outs, family. I love y'all, man. Big shout outs to the family. And listen, big shout outs to the haters too. You know what I mean? You're not a celebrity YouTuber without trolls. You gotta have the trolls in your chat room. You know what I mean? But you also gotta have moderators. Hello. To handle the trolls. Amen to that. Amen to that. Yes. Big shout outs to the family. All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. I hope you guys have a lovely day. It's 11:30 here in Columbus, Ohio, 11:30 p.m. currently. And I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of my day popping. I'm going to go get my hair done today. So the fro is going back away. I don't know when I'll be back to the channel. There's another topic I really, really want to talk about. So I might come back soon. Okay, big shout outs to the family. Until we meet again, stay black and true. If you ain't black, just stay true.